What's up, guys? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report. We are live here from the DreArea Sports Studios here in Northern California, and the music is turned off, but that's great. There we go. And we have a lot to cover today. We have the San Francisco 49ers in their epic win against the New York Jets, a dominant win at that. We're going to be talking about the Niners and what we have set up for next week against the Minnesota Vikings. We have the San Francisco Giants, who take 2 out of 3, but are they actually going to make it? Probably not. We have the A's, the San Jose State Spartans, Cal, Stanford, both teams who are looking dominant in the ACC. We're going to cover all of that today and a whole lot more here on the NorCal Sports Report, brought to you by IE Sports Radio, your feed for everything that is sports. Okay, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report. So, guys, we had a very exciting weekend. We had college football on Saturday. We had NFL football on, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and Monday. So, 4 days of the week. Thank you, Jen. 4 days of the week, we had football. 5 days, really, if you consider college football as well, which I'm telling you right now, Cal and Stanford in the ACC, they look dominant. And it goes to show you that the Pac-12 was a very talented conference. But unfortunately, they couldn't get the right kind of, ad revenue and TV contracts and all that. But they're showing that in these other conferences that they're in, that they're actually a very competitive teams that came out of the Pac-12. So definitely check that out. We're definitely going to be talking about that later as well. Talking about a little Giants, a little A's, college football. We're going to talk about some city college football as well, which I'm a huge fan of now. Thank you to Larry B. I want to thank you for that. But last night is where it all started for me, because that was week 1 of the NFL for me, because that was the Niners' first game, which was Monday night against the New York Jets. And boy, was this a game. So let's go to that right now. The Niners won 32-19 over the Jets last night in a week 1 matchup Monday night. And I'll tell you right now, the Niners were dominant on all 3 phases of the game. There was never a part of the game where the Jets really had control of this game. The Niners dictated the pace of the game, and they controlled the time of possession, nearly doubling the time of possession that the Jets had the ball. And overall, the defense looked great. The offense looked great. They literally just had their way with the New York Jets. And this is surprising as well, because the Jets had the number 3 ranked defense last year. And one of the things that we talked about last week, and also on my other broadcast over on DreArea Sports, was that this was going to be a game fought in the trenches with the running game. So this was a really good game, really good win for the Niners, and we're going to talk more about that in just a few minutes. But before we get to that, let's get to some of the other features of IE Sports Radio. If I can find there it is. So before we get to any of that, make sure you follow IE Sports Radio over on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and over at IE Sports Radio. That's your home for all that your direct feed for all that is sports. Thank you, Jen. You can also find IE Sports Radio available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Spotify, all these places you see down below. So definitely check out IE Sports Radio wherever you find your podcast. You can also go to iesportsradio.com, where we have all the shows listed on there, and you can pick and choose which shows you want to listen to at any time. So definitely cool to check that out. Definitely check out iesportsradio.com/the NorCal Sports Report. That's where you'll find this show, and you'll find it every week, as this is episode 2 of a long span of episodes that we're going to be coming at you with. And while you're there, stop at iesportsradio.com/shop. Pick up some merchandise. You got the IE Sports Radio logo right here. You can get that on a shirt, on a hat, on a banner, whatever you want. It's there. Definitely check out iesportsradio.com/shop. You can follow me on social media on X at NorCal Sports IE. That is the handle for the X account. And you can follow me directly at DreArea Sports on X, Instagram. I'll be on there as well. I'll be getting a Facebook up soon, and I have a Patreon set up as well, so definitely check those out. But this broadcast is brought to you by Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. You can follow Planet Jerky at this link below on Instagram at Planet Jerky. And if you want to place an order for Planet Jerky, you can go to this link right here, which is planetjerky.net, where you can order your own bundle or however much amount of beef jerky you want. It's great stuff. Definitely check that out. We're also brought to you by Seal the Deal Wax Seals. You can follow them over on their IG handle, which is _wax seals. So definitely check that out. And if you want to place an order for these wax seals, you can do so over at iesportsradio.com/seal the deal wax seals. Definitely really, really cool stuff. And with that being said, let's go to a word from our sponsor, Planet Jerky. You're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your feed for everything that is sports.
Sodium nitrate is low in sugar and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Twelve minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report, here on IG Sports Radio, your feed for everything that is sports. And today, we have a lot to cover. But the main thing we're going to cover is the San Francisco 49ers, because they dominated last night. We saw earlier, we talked about the score. It was 32-19. And really, I would say in the first drive that the Niners had the ball, that was the only time you felt like the Jets defense was actually a presence on the field. But as soon as that possession was over, they were a non-factor for the rest of the game. Now, I will admit, Aaron Rodgers early on, he did look good. He had that one drive where he drove him down the field and scored a touchdown. He was using Garrett Wilson a lot. And I thought maybe this was going to be an issue. But as the game went on, the Niners completely dominated them, defensively and offensively. Let's go to the stats, because the stats say a lot about what happened in this game. This is so Niners and Jets. Brock Purdy was 19 of 29 for 231 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, which is great because you didn't have any turnovers. He had an 89.9% passer rating. Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, he went 13 of 21 with a pick and a touchdown. He had an 82% passer rating. The Niners were able to neutralize Aaron Rodgers. After that drive where he scored a touchdown, he really was a non-factor. He did score the touchdown. He threw a nice pass to Lazard late in the game to score a touchdown after Floyd had jumped off sides. But still, that's a play too, which of all the plays we're going to talk about, that was a play where it's like, dude, if you jump off sides, just go right at the quarterback so they blow the whistle. Don't stop and give him a free play. I don't know why they did that. But the biggest story of the night, which everyone thought, most of the national media thought, oh, it's going to be about Aaron Rodgers. No, instead, what was the biggest story of the night was J.P. Mason with 28 rushes for 147 yards and a touchdown. This guy absolutely dominated last night. And same with the Niners offensive line. Their newest draft pick, Dominic Pooney, absolutely dominated last night. Along with Aaron Banks, Trent Williams, Colt McGivens. They all did a great job. Jake Brendel, they were able to move the line, and there's a lot of breakdowns from Baldy, Brian Baldinger, showing how the Niners offensive line were able to get to that second level multiple times throughout the game and really open up those running lanes for J.P. Mason to get those big gashing runs and get a lot of yards. I mean, the guy had 147 yards. He was averaging 5.3 a carry. That is absolutely dominant. And we knew early on that Bryce Hall was going to be featured in their offense because they wanted to give time for Aaron Rodgers to get warmed up, to get into a rhythm. He had 16 rushes for 54 yards. They literally took the running game out of the equation once the Niners started to get up by 2 scores. Now, Breece Hall did have a touchdown in that one drive where they looked spectacular, the Jets. And then after that, it was never the same. The Niners defense totally clamped down. The Niners defense didn't give up any big runs. And the Niners showed that they have improved on their running defense. Last year, they weren't very good. They struggled against the run. Steve Wilkes couldn't figure out how to stop the run. Bubble screens were killing us. Last night, they were not. And I think Sorensen and Staley have figured out, okay, this is what we got to do to stop the run. And that's what they did. Secondary-wise, Isaac Yiadom had a great day. He had a batted down pass on 4th down, which turned the ball over, which was awesome. Charvarius Ward nearly had an interception. And the defense just played spectacular. Diamador Lenore had a batted pass in the air, intercepted by Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, DFF. And you had Fred Warner flying around the field, just in everyone's face every time he handed the ball off. The Niners, like I said before, looked absolutely dominant out there. They were on a whole different level. Juwan Jennings led the team with 5 catches for 64 yards. Deebo Samuel, 5 catches for 54 yards. He also had, I want to say, 8 rushes. Yeah, 8 rushes for 23 yards, and he had a touchdown as well. Once CMC was out, they featured J.P. Mason and Deebo Samuel as their primary running backs. Which, you know what? A lot of people were like, well, why do they keep using Deebo? Why Deebo? Dude, Deebo is the biggest distraction when he's out there. There were plays where they had him just motioning out and then going in a different direction just to bring the defense into that direction. It was incredible. Emmanuel Acho had some videos breaking down the Niners offense and how they absolutely dominated against the New York Jets. And like I said, this was the number 3 defense in the league last year. Now, granted, they don't have Huff. He's in Philly. And Hassan Reddick is still holding out. So their defense was definitely, it was hard for them on the edge. But you still have Quinnen Williams. You still have Mosley, your linebacker. You still had a lot of good guys. The secondary for the Jets, they completely took them out of the game as the game went on. Sauce Gardner, here's the thing. One of the keys of the game that we talked about was that the Niners needed to run the ball at Sauce Gardner, make him have to tackle, make him have to get physical, and not just hang out on the edges, defending the receivers. Make him have to exert energy, and he did that. He took a shot to the shoulder by Deebo, and then he was out of the game. I want to say the last possession, if not 2, in the second half, he didn't come back out. And they even said, the announcers kind of called him out. They said, well, according to the coaching staff, he's not even hurt. He's just not in the game. So either he was saying, I need a break, or the Jets were saying, they're running the ball. We need more physical players out there. You're not it when it comes to stopping the run. So the running game helped take Sauce Gardner out of the game, which was incredible. DJ Reed was still out there, but he wasn't as good. And the Niners were able to find a lot of success through the air. And he spread the ball around. Look at 5 catches for Jennings, 5 catches for Deebo. Juszczyk, he had 2 catches. He had that big bomb for 34 yards down the left side of the field, which really opened things up. George Kittle, 4 catches, 40 yards. He had a high point catch, which looked beautiful in the second half. Brandon Ayuk, 2 catches for 28 yards. 2 catches for 28 yards. Let's talk about Brandon Ayuk. You went through the entire offseason making a big deal about how you wanted to get paid like the top receivers in the league. Okay, so the Niners eventually signed you to a 4-year, $120 million contract. Finally ended that whole charade. You come back at the very end and practice with the Niners. Brock Purdy drops an absolute dime to you in the corner of the end zone, and you couldn't make that catch. You dove and couldn't make the catch. That's something that he has to do if we're paying him that much money. It absolutely has to happen. I was very disappointed by that. He had 2 drops in the game. So, is there some rust for Brandon Ayuk? Yeah, I think so. I think there's rust. I love what Peyton Manning said about it on that same play where he dropped that dime from Brock Purdy. He was like, dude, you can't be practicing with some 40-year-old guy throwing you passes. You got to be out there with your quarterback. Practicing with your quarterback. Sign your contract and get in there because it makes a difference. It really does. Let's go to this. So Coach Yak over on X had this stat that I wanted to bring up. We talked about Dominic Pooney and how he was absolutely dominating out there against the Jets defensive line. So his stat line goes a little something like this. He had 34 pass blocking opportunities. He only allowed 1 pressure, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits. He had a 98.5 pass blocking efficiency, 77.7 pass blocking grade, and a 74.6 run blocking grade. The guy was balling out there. We're talking about a draft in which all the players made the team, except for Jarrett Kingston, who they were going to put on their practice squad, but then he got claimed by somebody else. I forgot what team it was. Might have been the Browns. But you're talking about a complete success in a total draft where all but one player made the team. That's incredible. And this guy's starting. Dominic Puni is literally starting right now, which is freaking awesome. And on top of that, we have another stat that I want to show you guys. Let me see if I can make this bigger. There we go. Let's take a look at this. This is courtesy of OptaStats. It says the 49ers are the only team in the Super Bowl era to get 200 passing yards, a 200 passing yard game from Brock Purdy, a 125 rushing yard game by J.P. Mason, a 50-yard receiving game by Jennings, and an interception by Flanagan Fowles from 4 players who were drafted 200th or later or weren't drafted at all. Now, to me, this shows you that the Niners are extremely good at evaluating talent and figuring out which players are going to work in their offensive or defensive scheme. So hats off to the Niners. This was incredible. This is an incredible stat, and it's incredible what they've been able to accomplish later in the draft. Now, what's funny is that if you look at their first-round draft picks, a lot of them didn't actually pan out, which is kind of crazy. But their late-round draft picks have all panned out really well. So props to the Niners for making that happen, because that was awesome. So not only did the Niners embarrass the Jets, but the Jets fans started to lose control. Literally. So here is just a sample of a clip from an X space where Jets fans were talking about the game. Now, I will warn you, viewer discretion is advised, because this guy gets really, really mad. Okay? But let's check this out, and here we go.
He just did these little thinking ducks. Saleh's supposed to be some fucking defensive coordinator. You fire his fucking ass. I gave this guy every fucking benefit of the doubt, Paul. Hold on one second. I give this guy every benefit of the doubt.
Jason,
What?
Are you in a situation where the Jets are so pathetic tonight that the 49ers fans are actually feel sorry for you as you're leaving?
Yeah, they were mocking us doing this fucking JETS chants. You had these fat fucks with their fucking you had these fat fucks with these rubber fucking gold rush. What do they call it? What are those like things that they used to dig with the gold rush? The
pickaxe.
The big axe. They had their fucking rubber axes. I wanted to take it and shove it up their ass. This is so fucking bad. All I had to hear about every day from these fucking fanboys. Oh, the Jets did this. The Jets are legit. They got Aaron Rodgers, this and that. It's the same fucking shit. Where do I have to fly to next to see a fucking win? Fucking Singapore? Go fuck yourselves. I'm done with this fucking team.
So that was just a clip from an X space. And Larry, sorry for all the explicit language, but it goes to show you, look, when you're playing in New York, you're going to take on a lot of heat. And you saw, for me at least, I saw the look on Robert Saleh's face towards the end of the game, and he knew the heat was coming. He was like, oh boy, this is not good. Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded coach. He used to coach for the Niners. And he got absolutely played last night by Kyle Shanahan. Absolutely played. And Kyle Shanahan typically does that to all of his ex-coaches. He just destroys them. Now, he hasn't played against D'Amico Ryans yet, so we'll see how that one kind of pans out when it does. But overall, though, look at what the Niners did to Aaron Rodgers, who made his big comeback. He was 13-21 for 167, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was a non-factor, an absolute non-factor. They completely took out his weapons and took him out of the game. Incredible job at what they did. And offensively, the schemes that they were coming up with were masterful. Let's go to Emmanuel Acho, who had his own little breakdown that he recorded on his phone. Let's go to that real quick.
Kyle Shanahan is a freaking wizard. This is why the run game matters. Right now, number one is the wheel route defender, which means he has whichever one of these running backs come out here and turn on a wheel route. But here's the thing. The Niners have been running it down the Jets' freaking heart. As a result, as soon as Brock Purdy gives ball fake and run game action, number 21 is like, oh yeah, I'm ready now. I'm about to go stop the run. Problem, there is no run. As 21 is sprinting towards the line of scrimmage, use check, the dude about to catch the ball is sprinting by him like two trains passing in the night. This is called coverage. When you just turn around and say, oh, shit. Great job by Shanahan and the freaking Niners.
Absolutely great job. I love that. That's the oh shit coverage. Oh shit, get him! And he blew right by him because they were so fixated on stopping the run because that's how dominant they were up front. And I think a lot of that goes to Dominic Pooney for creating those lanes, those running lanes to the right side. The Niners last year, when you look at the ratios, they ran to the left side so often. Well, I mean, why not? You have Trent Williams over there, Aaron Banks. But last night, they ran both left and right because Pooney was able to open up those holes for J.P. Mason to get those big gains. So hats off to the Niners. They were firing on all cylinders last night, and it showed in the final score, which was 32-19. Now, my final score prediction, I'm a little mad at myself. Disappointed, really. Because earlier in the week, I had said, okay, my final score prediction was 31-21. And then as the week went on, I sort of chickened out, and I said, this is the number 3 defense last year. Might be a little harder. I shouldn't be such a fanboy. And so I said, okay, 24-21 Niners. The final score ended up being 32-19. If they would have got the 2-point conversion at the end of the game, that would have made it 32-21. That's how close I was to getting the score right. And not only that, but I also stated that it would be 31-21 where the Jets would score a touchdown late in the game when it was just garbage time. And that's exactly what they did. They scored that last touchdown with Tyrod Taylor in the game. Not even Aaron Rodgers. They took him out of the game in the second half of the fourth quarter. Steve-O writes, you would have lowered your prediction with CMC out. Come on, man. I mean, maybe. Bosa doesn't stink. Remember, he helped in getting that sack for Leonard Floyd, and he's a presence wherever he's at. I think when you compare Bosa to like a TJ Watt, it's a little different. Watt is just like in every single play wreaking havoc. But overall, I think Bosa is a stud. The Niners defense is filled with studs. And this is going to be a great season as they move on to week 2 when they travel to Minnesota to take on Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold was the backup for the Niners last year. So they know his tendencies. They know where he likes to go. They know what he likes to do. And I think that's going to be a huge advantage for our defense. I can already say Charvarius Ward is going to follow Justin Jefferson. So next Sunday's game should be a really, really good test. Now, they lost to Neil Hunter, so the Vikings' defensive pass rush is not as strong as it was last year. But I think the Niners are going to do what they did against the Jets against Minnesota. The only thing playing against the Niners is the fact that they have to travel halfway across the country in Minnesota. They have a 10 a.m. start time, Pacific time. So they got to start earlier, travel more, and that place is going to be rowdy and loud. And so they're going to have to overcome those adversities. But when you look at talent to talent, this team, the Niners, are more talented than the Minnesota Vikings. And I think that we're going to give Sam Darnold a really hard time. Remember, there's a couple things to remember here. Sam Darnold looked really good. He was 12 for 12 for his first 12 passes. He was going against the Giants, the New York Football Giants, which they looked ridiculous in their Optimus Prime colored uniforms. And they're garbage. Danny Dimes is terrible. Poor guy. I mean, he's a human being, you know. But when you throw an interception at the line of scrimmage and it's a pick six, I mean, come on, man. What are you doing? The Giants are dumb because not only did they draft Daniel Jones, but then they signed him to a fat extension, which was like, what are you doing? He hasn't proven anything. So what you saw the Vikings do against the Giants, I wouldn't take it. I would take it with a grain of salt because they're going against probably the second worst team in the league, right next to Carolina. And Bryce Young, oof, that guy looked that was rough. That was really, really rough. That was pretty bad. But guys, when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about Cal football, Stanford football, and San Jose State football. And all three teams kicked ass this week. You're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your feed for everything that is sports.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always willing to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Cowboys suck. Yes, they do. They signed Dak Prescott to a fat contract. He is not an elite caliber quarterback, so good luck with that. Good luck not being in the Super Bowl for the next 4 to 5 years because of your Dak Prescott contract. But we'll talk about that when we get closer to the Cowboys game. But definitely check out It's Drewski's show. Phenomenal show. Phenomenal. But now we're going to shift gears to the college football format, or college football, what do you call it? Whatever. We're going to talk about Cal football. And on Saturday night, Cal definitely had their way with the Auburn Tigers. Now, Auburn isn't what they used to be. Obviously, they're not even a ranked team. But to go up against Auburn for the first time being in the ACC and getting that win of 21-14, that was badass. I love seeing Cal show a team from Alabama, hey, guess what? were not just, the Pac-12 was not filled with weak teams. The Pac-12 was filled with really good teams. And in fact, the Pac-12, a lot of years would cannibalize their own conference because they would lose to each other. And then they would fall down the rankings because they were too good. They kept beating each other. And it was sad because I really like Pac-12 football, but I'm glad that they're playing against bigger and better teams now. So let's go to the stats. Fernando Mendoza was 25 of 36 for 233 yards, 2 touchdowns. Peyton Thorne looked like complete and utter garbage out there. He was 14 of 27. He had 4 picks. I mean, you're not helping your team out in any way, form, or fashion. Javian Thomas had 53 yards rushing and a touchdown. Hunter for the Auburn Tigers had 68 yards, no touchdown. Peyton Thorne actually did run for a touchdown, so that's one of the things that he did right. Jonathan Brady had 4 catches for 63 yards. Nazea Hunter, 4 catches, 44 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Cal Bears defensively looked great. Peyton Thorne looked awful. So he definitely helped out the Cal Bears in getting that win because he was just so bad. So bad. It's incredible what they were able to do. And then I know that I don't have it on. It doesn't show defense for some reason. It's kind of weird. But I know that there was a player for the Cal Bears who had 2 interceptions, which was awesome. 2 of the 4 interceptions. And that's just awesome to see Cal go into Auburn and get that win. And I'm sure a lot of people did not pick did not pick Cal to win that game. How do I know that? Well, when you look at College Game Day, built by the Home Depot, they're the ones who said, okay, Auburn. Giving no love to Cal. Kirk Herbstreit, Auburn. Lee Corso, Auburn. It's just crazy. So there you go. Even Pat McAfee, he chose Auburn. So all of them looked like shitheads because, hey, guess what? Auburn got smoked. I mean, I know the score didn't reflect that, but if you watch the game, you would know that Cal dominated that game. So that was awesome. Now, let's switch gears to another NorCal college football team, which is Stanford. Now, Stanford, again, they lost their home opener, but they came back strong in the second game, going up against Cal Poly, the Mustangs, and they won 41-7. So far, Cal and Stanford, Cal's 2-0. Stanford's 1-1. But I think they're really going to thrive in the ACC, and they're really going to turn some heads, too. When you look at the matchup between Cal Poly and Stanford, Ashton Daniels was 19-23 for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bo Kelly, I actually went to high school with a guy named Bo Kelly. It's weird. He was 17-25 for 149 yards and 1 pick. And I don't know what Cal Poly had some weird setups because not only did Bo Kelly throw passes, but so did Jackson Atkins and Michael Briscoe. So they have a 3-headed monster at quarterback, apparently. Aiden Ramos for the Mustangs, 8 catches for 22 yards. 8 rushes for 22 yards. I was going to say, what the hell? And Briscoe had 3 catches for 47 yards. Over on Stanford side, Ismail Cease, 8 catches, 79 yards, and a touchdown. He had a game. Chris Davis Jr., 6 rushes for 53 yards. And Ashton Daniels himself, 9 rushes for 31 yards. So overall, good win for Stanford. And again, the Cardinal and the Bears are showing that they're not a slouch. They're a good team. Their next game is going against Syracuse. Syracuse is 2-1, so we'll see how Stanford does against Syracuse Friday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. I'm not sure what channel it's going to be on, but it doesn't really matter. So definitely check that out. And as for Cal's going up against San Diego State, who's 1-1. I think Cal can get that win and be 3-0 on the year. That's awesome. That is awesome. I can't wait to see how that shakes out. Now let's go over to another college football team in the Bay Area. That's San Jose State. The Spartans did something that they've never done in their school history. They beat Air Force for the first time in school history 17-7. And that's awesome for San Jose State, who moves to 2-0 in the Midwest Conference, and Air Force drops to 1-1. Looking at the passing for San Jose State, Emmerich Brown was 17-32 for 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. John Busha for Air Force, he was 7-20. It's not good. And 2 picks. Not good. Floyd Chalk, 15 rushes for 43 yards. Cade Harris for the Air Force, 8 rushes for 50 yards. And looking down, Nick Nash, what a game. 7 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Cannon, 3 catches for 88 yards and another touchdown. So all the way around, when we're talking about Cal, Stanford, San Jose State, all 3 teams won. It was a Northern California sweep. And that's what makes college football so fun, is that there's all these divisions, all these conferences, a flurry of teams, and there's so many games to watch on Saturday. Hats off to the Spartans, who are 2-0. And I think, again, I think San Jose has got a shot within their conference to do something real special. Their next game is going to be against the Kennesaw State Owls, who are 0-2. So, again, San Jose State has the chance to go in 3-0 to start the year. That's freaking awesome. I love that. Absolutely love that. Now let's jump over to the San Francisco Giants. The Giants were able to take 2 out of 3 from the San Diego Padres over the weekend. They lost on Friday 5-1, but they won the last 2 games 6-3 and 7-6. And they move on to Milwaukee starting on Tuesday for a 3-game series. But when you look at the stats of this game, right? I lost it. Where did it go? Oh, there we go. So they won 7-6. Now, McCray has been playing really well lately, which I'm really happy to see. But today he went 0 for 5. Ramos went 1 for 5. Chapman 2 for 4. 2 RBIs and a home run and a stolen base too. Matt Chapman really happy with staying with the Giants and signed that big extension as well. Encarnacion went 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs, and Luis Matos went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a home run as well. Pitching wise, Spencer Bivens went 4 innings, 3 strikeouts. Joe Musgrove, who's one of their better pitchers, only lasted 4 1/3, giving up 6 earned runs. He did strike out 7, but gave up a lot of runs. Once they got him into the stretch, it was damn near over because they just were rocking him at that point. And Camilo Doval, he came in again. He gave up 2 earned runs and a walk, 2 hits. He's so up and down. I don't know what to do with Doval, who was once the closer. Now he has a 4.94 ERA. Ryan Walker got his 7th save of the year. Since taking over the closer position, he's been dominant. A 1.82 ERA, a 0.85 whip. The guy just has so much movement. Absolutely dominating out there. I love it. I like it a lot. But for the Giants, again, 8 games out of the wild card. If you ask me, it's over. I mean, they're 4-6 in their last 10 games. Yeah, they won 2 in a row, but they really got to turn it around if they're going to try and make a run for this last wild card spot. I just don't see it happening. They're 2 games under 500, and the last spot is right now owned by the Mets, who are 79-65. 14 games over 500. I think that the hill is too high for this team to climb. And they're going to have to make some big changes in the offseason in order to make themselves more of a challenge for the rest of the league. More competitive. They need more bats. Ramos is good. Fitzgerald is good. McCray is actually playing really well. But again, they lost Jung Ho Lee in the first month of the year. And they need to add more power. I'll let them figure that one out. But the Giants, season is likely over, but it's not over yet. Technically, they're not out of it yet, so let's go Giants. That's the best thing I can say for the Giants is let's go Giants. Now, jumping over to the Oakland A's. The A's had a 3-game series with the Detroit Tigers, and they lost on Sunday 9-8 to the Detroit Tigers. Let me see. In fact, the A's have lost 4 of the last 5 games. So they're not looking too hot. They had a better year, though, I'll tell you that. But still, it's a long way to go. And as for the A's, they, again, are sitting 14 games out of the final wild card spot. So, again, their season is likely done. They're doing one of their Oakland A's rebuilding procedures they do like every 2 days. So that's kind of where we're at when it comes to the Oakland A's, who are next year will be playing in Sacramento. And no one knows if they're going to be called the Oakland A's, the Sacramento A's, or just, I think they're just going to be called the Athletics and have no city attached to their name, which is crazy because they're so confident that they're going to get into Las Vegas when Vegas isn't even making an effort to get them there, because Vegas wants them to pay a percentage of the cost to build a new stadium. And the A's are so cheap. They're like, whoa, I don't know about that. The owner, John Fisher, is like, my parents own the Gap. Let me ask my parents. No, it's over. I don't think they're actually going to get to Las Vegas. I think they're going to end up staying in Sacramento. And they got a better shot at getting a stadium built in Sacramento. Not to mention Vivek, the owner of the Kings, is the one who got them into Sacramento because he's part owner of the River Cats. And so he was able to work his way and help the A's get them over there. Because I think the Sacramento is auditioning themselves to be a home for a Major League Baseball team, which there is a market for. I'll tell you that. There is. Especially if they can get the A's to come there. Because now you're taking that same brand value and bringing it right over to Sacramento as opposed to the A's going to Las Vegas. But we'll see how that pans out. I don't know. The A's are just consistently annoying. And so I hope that they can find a home somewhere. But I'm telling you, them playing at Wrigley Field at a AAA ballpark, it's going to be really weird. Like, the home team locker room is behind the center field bleachers. So you literally have to, like, hike around the stadium to get to the dugout. That makes zero sense. And I don't even know if they have the medical equipment to even check on players for x-rays or for, they're probably going to have to freaking drive them over to freaking one of the hospitals downtown. It's going to be crazy. Very intimate, as John Fisher says, but we'll see. Let's jump over to 3C2A community college football. I'm going to bring that up right now. And we had some good scores. American River took out Sequoias 35-18. Go American River. Sac City took down Feather River 24-20. I used to go to Sac City College. So, hell yeah. Love that. Redwoods took out Merced 33-7. That was a little bit of a blowout. Little bit. Golden West took down Bakersfield 27-25. And the game of the week for me, Santa Rosa took out San Francisco 34-21. What? Crazy. Northern California dominated. Even though San Francisco is in Northern California, I'd see Santa Rosa is further north, so we dominated. Absolutely dominated. Oh, and we'll keep it at that. Also, San Joaquin Delta got smashed by Shasta 46-14. That game wasn't even close. And that should round out all. Oh, I'm sorry. San Mateo pulled out the win 27-26 over Sierra. And San Jose won 31-7 over Yuba, over in Yuba City, which if you've ever been to Yuba City, it's a complete shithole. I almost had to work there once, and then I didn't want to move there because I was like, yeah, I don't want to live here. I don't want my kids to grow up here. I'm sorry, Yuba. I'm sorry. It did not work out. It did not. But yeah, dude, I loved that Santa Rosa took down San Francisco 34-21. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And also Sac City as well. So that was awesome. So before we go to our last break, and then when we come back, we're going to do a quick summary of the Niners matchup with the Vikings next week and what they need to do to shut down the Vikings offense and what they need to do against the Vikings defense. Guys, you're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on the IE Sports Radio Network, your feed for everything that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
Bernie out, more like Jordan Love out. Jesus.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you with the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Yeah, Ricky K, I think he's hurting right now because the Jets just got smashed by the Niners. If you're a New York fan for football, it's going to be tough. You watched not only the Giants get smashed, but you watched the Jets get smashed as well. It's really, really too bad. It really is. Got to be a tough life in New York. Good thing you got the Yankees right. But still, I digress. So, looking ahead, as we round things out at the end of the show here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your feed for everything that is sports. We're going to talk a little bit about Niners-Vikings coming up next week. 10 a.m. start time on the West Coast. The Vikings last year, total defense, we're looking at ranked 16th in the league. Okay, so we're going to base everything off of last year because we've only had one game so far. It's not really fair. Niners had the 8th best defense last year. I think really where the Niners need to attack this team is through the air. Last year, the Vikings were ranked 24th in pass defense. And this year, you don't have Danielle Hunter coming off that edge to bring pressure on to Brock Purdy. And on top of that, the Vikings were they were allowing an average of 234 yards through the air. That's not good. It's really not. But what about their run defense? Was that any better? Well, their run defense was the 8th best run defense in the league. They were averaging, they were allowing an average of 98.7 yards per game. Niners were number 3 against the run. So I think, again, without Danielle Hunter, I think, again, they're going to pound the rock with J.P. Mason, sort of what they did against the Jets. They open up those run lanes and kind of show the rest of the league that they can pretty much do whatever they want. So I think a heavy dose of J.P. Mason, and then once you've established that run game, they're going to open it up through the air and really just annihilate the Vikings. Sam Darnold was the backup last year to Brock Purdy. They know his tendencies. They know what he likes. They know what he doesn't like. And the one thing with Sam Darnold is that he's never been good against pressure. When he faces pressure, his numbers go down, and that's what they're going to do is apply a lot of pressure to Sam Darnold. Now, so I would imagine Darnold is going to be focusing on trying to run the ball with Aaron Jones and getting rid of the ball quickly to help reduce the amount of pass rush he's going to be getting from the Niners defensive line. But I don't think it's going to work. I think the Niners have a clear advantage over here talent-wise, and I think that based on week one, they are firing on all cylinders. Now, like I said earlier, it is an earlier start time for the Niners. They're going to have to travel almost cross-country to Minnesota, and they're going to be playing in Minnesota in front of a loud Minnesota crowd. It's not audience. It's like it's a show. Minnesota crowd. So that's going to be really cool, and I think they're going to be able to overcome that. And I think that the Niners are going to win this game at a final score of 38-14. That's what I'm going to go with, 38-14. I don't see the defense making much of an impact against our offense, and I think the Niners are going to have their way with the Vikings defense. And on top of that, I don't see that their offense being able to generate a lot of offense against our defense. Remember that the Vikings went against the Giants, and the Giants suck. Like I said earlier, the Giants were rocking like the Optimus Prime colors. Those uniforms, I know they're throwbacks, but man, they look so bad. The Giants were bad both mentally and physically. So for the Vikings, it wasn't much to do other than just to kick their ass. So, but like I said, I think the Niners are going to win this game 38-14. And I think that Brock Purdy will throw for over 200 yards and that J.P. Mason will rush for over 100 yards. And the Niners are going to win. And that's how we wrap things up here, guys. I want to thank everyone who came out today to watch the show. I want to thank Jen B in the back, who's, again, kicking ass like she always does. Check out her show as well. It's the Cleveland show. But, guys, again, thank you for tuning in to the NorCal Sports Report. We're going to be live every week on Wednesday at 11 a.m. This week, we did it at 11. We did it on Tuesday because I have something going on tomorrow that I had to attend to. But like I said, every Wednesday at 11 a.m., you'll get the NorCal Sports Report. I want to thank Larry B. for putting together the IE Sports channel, and Jen B. for being an absolute badass backstage. And we'll see you guys next week right here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your feed for everything that is sports. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace!